For years, Usher's rise to fame was sold as a fairy tale. A gifted kid, the right mentors, and a fast track to stardom. But now, pieces of that story are starting to sound a lot darker. As Usher opens up about his early days around Diddy, questions are resurfacing about what he really had to give up to make it in the industry. People close to Diddy are speaking again, too. Gene Deal, who was around during those years, has been pulling back the curtain on what life was like behind closed doors. From strange stories about daily routines to claims that Diddy treated young talent like property, the picture being painted is uncomfortable, to say the least. And according to Gone, none of it happened in a vacuum. He says Clive Davis played a major role in shaping Diddy's decisions and the environment around him.
He learned from Andre Harrell. He learned from Russell Simmons. He learned from Clive Davis. You understand? When those people are telling you that they were heavy into the drugs, they was heavy into beating women and doing things at that age, at that crazy stage, that's gonna make him think that he could get away with the same thing that they was getting away with back then.
Now, with Usher finally breaking his silence and old stories lining up in new ways, Diddy is under more pressure than ever. What really went on at Flavor Camp? How much control did powerful people like Clive Davis have over Usher's childhood? And why do these details seem to matter more now than ever? We will answer all that and more in this video. First, let's start off with what happened at Puffy's Flavor Camp and all the things Usher might possibly have witnessed, given he's already brought it up once.
I moved to New York City, and I lived with Sean Puffy Combs for a year.
That's the crazy thing. Now, that was L.A. Reid's idea, right? We're sending you over to something called Puffy Flavor Camp.
There you go.
To learn
Flavor Camp.
Yeah,
Flavor
that's
Camp.
what it was called. And you're going to go to Puff Daddy's. He's going
In the 90s, do you understand what that's like?
Puffy's place was like just filled with chicks and orgying like nonstop, right?
No, not really. I mean, but hey, it was curious. I got a chance to see some things.
Yeah, but you were 13. What were you seeing?
I went there to see the lifestyle.
Right.
And I saw it. And it was but I don't know if I could indulge and understand what I was even looking at. It was pretty wild.
So nobody tried to, some woman didn't come along.
I didn't say that.
Okay.
I didn't say that. What I did say is that there were very curious things taking place. And I didn't necessarily understand it.
Biggie Smalls was there.
Biggie Smalls was there. Lil' Kim, Craig Mack.
All these people are hanging around.
Yeah, man. Faith Evans, Jodeci, Mary J. Blige. They didn't know nothing about this.
Oh.
I was having a good time. You know what I mean?
Does he have you doing any chores? Are you doing dishes at all? I mean, to keep you humble somewhat? Or are you just like, can you stay up till 4 a.m. with them and party?
I mean, I could. I actually stayed up longer than them.
And do you have money? What's going on?
I mean, I had like per diem.
Yeah.
I had like,
what
like
a
a living.
life.
Yeah, it's pretty crazy.
14 years old. You're a dad now. Would you ever send your kid to Puffy Camp?
Hell no.
When Usher was only 13 years old, his life changed fast. Diddy became his legal guardian and took control of his early career while producing his first album. At an age when most kids are worried about school and friends, Usher was suddenly living in adult spaces surrounded by people, situations, and pressure far beyond his years. T.
Thank you. Come here. Don't sit on the bed at night. No homo. No, just don't get close to the bed. Don't get close. But it's just like, yo, we want to thank you for hosting the thing, man. It's been a pleasure. You didn't have to do it, and you did.
No. I definitely didn't have to do it. I definitely didn't have to. First and foremost, I'm not getting in the bed. Shout out to him and what he did. I'm just gonna, if we can, let's just put the camera a little this way, just so we're not. I don't want my shot to even, I don't want it to come close to the bed at all. I should look like he fresh off a goddamn plane. I should.
Fresh off the guard stage. That's my brother right here from day one. We used to wake up and, pause, but like that's how. Back in the days when he was like 10 and I was a little bit older, his older brother, we used to fight over the Frosted Flakes. You know what I'm saying? Before pause was invented. You know what I'm saying? But it's my brother for real. We used to actually wrestle off of the Frosted Flakes because he used to always get up early. Now he's one of the richest stars in the world. And
What the f did Puff just say? Nobody's gonna acknowledge this but me. Puff just said we used to wrestle over the Frosted Flakes, and we're streaming live. That was stupid. Listen, that was stupid. Listen,
we having a good time, yo.
Years later, Usher admitted that being under Diddy's wing exposed him to things a child shouldn't have to process. In 2004, during the era of Usher's Confessions album, Usher said in a Rolling Stone interview that Diddy introduced him to a totally different set of sex specifically. Usher noted that sex is so hot in the industry, man, and remembered that in Diddy's home, there were always girls around. You'd open a door and see somebody doing it, or several people in a room having one, or you never knew what was going to happen. He explained that the environment pushed him into grown-up experiences before he was emotionally ready. The industry moved fast, and so did his loss of innocence. Usher continued, saying that he wouldn't pass on any of the advice Diddy gave him. He framed it as something he survived rather than something that consumed him, making it clear he had to actively protect himself from being pulled under by it all.
They play Usher confessions. Confess that Lifetime Achievement Award was a hush payment for your asshole and all of the many years of abuse. That wasn't no lifetime. I'm still mad. People say, why you say that about Usher?
Oh, okay. So
I'm mad that people aren't more mad at Usher.
For what?
Because somewhere along the way he went from a victim to a procurer to a head turner. Like, let's just be honest about Usher. Is he a victim or is he a cooperating agent?
I think we saw the moment he turned into.
Let's be honest.
It's when Diddy put his arm around him and said,
we all know that chili was a PR relationship. We know that, right? That chili wasn't real. Him and Chili.
Oh yeah, you said Chili.
That wasn't. Who believes that was real?
I don't. Hands? No hands? Okay, all right.
Now, it all looked cute, older, hot, sexy woman, younger guy. And both very good looking people.
Yes.
So how the f he ended up with that after that?
His baby mama?
And she was.
Let's be clear. He was still a young man. Let's be clear. He was still a young man and he was Usher. So if there was vanity involved, how the f you go from Chili to that? And don't say it's true love.
Still, survival doesn't mean untouched. Growing up that way can shape how someone views trust, power, relationships, and control. It can force maturity before a person is ready and leave emotional weight that only becomes clear years later. That's why fans paid attention in 2024 when Usher suddenly wiped his social media clean. Even though it was later explained away, the timing made people wonder whether he was trying to hide something.
Usher deleted all of his tweets after the allegations about Diddy. And we saw Diddy do the same thing with his Instagram just a couple months before the feds arrested him. And I feel like there was something on Twitter he really didn't want us to see, because why would you mass delete all of your tweets after you are being named in all of these allegations with Diddy? Dawn Richards' lawsuit against Diddy accused Usher and Neo of being there and watching when Diddy forcefully punched Cassie in the stomach, causing her to double over in visible pain. Dawn Richards said at this point, this is when she felt very unsafe because she noticed the amount of power Diddy had, because these celebrities never said anything about Diddy committing this crime and they just continued to work with him after this. And that's not all. We also have the allegations of Usher being the one to bring Justin Bieber to Diddy, and this is circulating like crazy, and you cannot tell me that he has not seen this. The same crazy allegations are being brought up in Kim Porter's book, how she allegedly found these tapes that Diddy had, and she's talking about a young pop star, which a lot of people are thinking is Justin Bieber. So the fact that Usher would do something so publicly like this when he is being scrutinized all over the internet really makes me think that there was something deep down that we were not supposed to see. And some people are thinking because of this that Usher might be the celebrity that's going to testify against Diddy. And I honestly don't know, but that really doesn't make sense to me why Usher would mass delete all of his tweets if he's being brought in as a witness against Diddy. And after all of these allegations about Usher being spread like wildfire all over, the fact that he would mass delete these tweets because he's a witness really doesn't make sense to me. It's more like you were mass deleting stuff because you didn't want people to start digging and find something.
Gene Deal explains that Usher didn't just grow up around one powerful person. He grew up around many adults in the music industry who knew exactly how young he was. They saw what was happening, stayed quiet, and kept pushing him forward anyway. Instead of protecting him, they treated him like an investment. After those early years, Usher suddenly started getting everything. The best songs, the biggest chances. He was being shaped into a star while still carrying things no kid should have had to deal with.
A lot of people believed that, Usher was by Diddy.
He wasn't only by Diddy, he was by L.A. Reid, the rest of them too, man. Because they knew what happened. Then they came out and brought him back, and all of a sudden, he's getting all the great tracks. He's getting all the songs. They making him into this star, even though he may have been
They seem to be pretty good friends.
Well, they probably is.
I mean, they did a lot of work together, man, throughout their whole career. You know, Puff was early in his career. Puff and Usher were working together when Usher was just a kid, all the way up. I mean, you know, I think there's videos from not too long ago when they were together, and you know, Puff is making jokes about how they used to wrestle for the Frosted Flakes in the morning. And
yeah, I bet they did.
You know,
somebody frosted somebody flakes. Without the milk.
What do you think it is that keeps Usher from coming out or saying anything?
Because, yo, dog, you got to realize in that industry, a lot of people stand back and say, well, it happened to me. That's how some of them people pay their dues. And the people who don't go down like that don't be as great as the Ushers, as the Diddys. It's a way of passage to certain people in the entertainment business.
From the outside, it looked like success. On the inside, it must have been awful. Gene also explains why someone like Usher might never speak out. In that world, people are taught that going through hard things is just part of the process. If you make it, you're told to stay quiet. If you don't, you're forgotten. That kind of thinking keeps people silent for years. Gene Deal says none of this started overnight. He explains that Diddy didn't become the person people are talking about all on his own. He says Diddy learned his behavior from the powerful people who trained him in the music business.
When he was in New York City, he was like that gecko from the Geico commercial. Then he turned and started going, when he lived in Cali and Miami, he turned into Godzilla. I would see him talk about how he using drugs. He was never like that. Smoking cigarettes, smoking weed and everything like that. He turned into something that you could consider a monster, bruh. Then he started doing things to people, you understand, that he learned. That's a learned behavior, bruh.
According to Gene, those mentors showed him that anything was allowed if it helped you win.
And his learned behavior from the people that mentored him. You gotta realize, man, he learned from Andre Harrell. He learned from Russell Simmons. He learned from Clive Davis. You understand? When those people are telling you that they were heavy into the drugs, they was heavy into beating women and doing things at that age, at that crazy stage, that's gonna make him think that he could get away with the same thing that they was getting away with back then. You understand? The things that he was saying, you know, the touchy-feely between two men and all that stuff like that, man. All that, he learned that from them dudes. When I told y'all the story, when me and my man went up to Russell Simmons and he had a house and he had a man in bikini drawers in his bedroom, in his bed. You understand? Bruh, this is that he learned. I'm assuming he learned it from them.
When he was in New York City, he was like that gecko from the Geico commercial. Then he turned and started going. When he lived in Cali and Miami, he turned into Godzilla. I would see him talk about how he was using drugs. He was never like that. Smoking cigarettes, smoking weed, and everything like that. He turned into something that you could consider a monster, bro. Then he started doing things to people. You understand that he learned. That's a learned behavior, bro.
So the relationship between Clive Davis and Diddy is interesting because when Diddy's 23 years old, he's making a name for himself. Clive gave him $15 million to start Bad Boy Records. And then later on, they did even a bigger deal where Clive gave him $50 million advance on future earnings. This is 5 years later in 1998. $6 million upfront payment, $700,000 annual salary, and a state-of-the-art recording studio. We're talking about $2 million recording studio. This is when he went after Faith Evans. He got Biggie in the early 90s. This is when it started. But there's a relationship with Clive. And it's interesting because Clive later on, they say something may have happened here because Shook said Clive taught him the bad habits. And later on, Clive comes out and says the following. Yes, record mogul Clive Davis has identified as being bisexual. He publicly revealed in his memoir, this is not allegedly, he said it, the soundtrack of my life. At the age of 80, he also discussed in an interview with Katie Couric, expressing the hope that his coming out would contribute to greater understanding of bisexuality. It's Clive Davis.
They sacrificed Diddy. They said, you gotta take this. We can't be involved. But Diddy's smart. He filmed every session. So he was Clive and the motherfucking freak boy that run Universal Music Group. So he got them on some tapes. Now that's why they raiding the house, because they got friends in Homeland Security and the feds. And they said, get in there and get them tapes from this nigga. He trying to blackmail us. That's what I believe is going on.
I walked in Jimmy's office. I didn't have to knock on the door or get somebody let Jimmy know Mr. Knight there. Walk right in. He do the same. Anyway, when he walked in my office, we was having a conversation. He overheard somebody say something he probably shouldn't have heard. He wanted to holler at me. So I tell the homies, give me a minute. Jimmy said, man, I'm here because Clive Davis called me, and him and Puffy is real tight and, love it. So I thought he was talking like they got love for each other. It's all right. He said, yeah, they are lovers. I said, well, why you keep saying that? I said, look, you saying they lovers like they been sucking? He said, I don't want to say that, but that's what it means, right? I said, okay. He said, Clive don't want nothing to happen to Puffy. He said, but this guy ain't going to be able to do his business because we know what he did, what they did.
As the money, power, and pressure grew, so did Diddy's behavior become more reckless and violent. What started as ambition turned into control. And once he learned those patterns, he didn't stop them. He passed them on. That's where this matters for someone like Usher. When young artists grow up inside that system, they're not just learning music, they're learning how power works. And sometimes they're learning the wrong lessons.
They just know he got the budget. He go to LA, he talk to Clive, he come back with the bread. Apparently, he has this man's confidence. Yeah, I'm sure that man was very confident with in his mouth. You know what I'm saying? Clive is a whole freak.
You think Clive put him on to all?
I know. Clive, that's what he do. Queen Clive. Long may she reign in hell.
When 50 Cent...
Don't nobody want to talk about why R. Kelly's bus was parked in Clive Davis's driveway, why his tour bus was parked in Clive Davis's driveway at the house where the shit went down between Chris and Rihanna. Don't nobody want to talk about why it was filled with video girls who were being trafficked. And he was never questioned by Me Too. Why ain't nobody from Me Too saying anything? They had so much to say about Harvey Weinstein, whose now all his charges is being dropped. So much for their investigation. Guess it was a little paper thing.
Clive Davis was one of the most powerful people in music. He worked with some of the biggest artists of all time and had the power to make or break careers. When Diddy was young and trying to get into the industry, Clive was already established. He gave Diddy a chance, funded his ideas, and helped him build Bad Boy Records. According to people close to the situation, Clive didn't just teach Diddy about music. He taught him how power works. He taught him that control matters more than character, and that people are tools to be used to reach the top. When someone grows up learning those lessons, they don't just disappear, they get passed down.
Mind me asking, because I know the topic is sensitive. What happened to Usher?
I heard about some music executive from the industry back in Harlem. You know, I heard it from some music executives back in Harlem. And I'm not gonna speak on their name. They doing programs and everything like that, and they may be doing something, they may speak on it themselves. But I heard it from some music executives.
What did you hear?
Bro, you know how people be talking, and we was around some people, something like that, and then some people might say, yo, I don't F with that dude. And at the time, I didn't know who the F Usher was. You know what I'm saying? It was one of those type of situations. And when people say, yo, man, I don't F with them niggas. I'm getting out that industry and everything like that. You know, Puff sent this little kid to the hospital. How he sent him to the hospital? Man, nigga was bleeding from the butt. And that's what was said. But I didn't even have a name for the kid at the time. Then you hear it, and that's what happened. And that's just, that's something that you heard. You don't know if it's true, you just heard it. So, and just to hear this, and this new thing where they saying that they got kids coming forward and said that he did that, man, that shit is crazy. And like I just said, that's just something that I heard. It's something that I didn't know. It's something that I ain't see. A lot of people want to, because Gene Deal has spoken on certain things that I've heard, I have spoken on it. But then they were just trying to say, I know. No, I'm not scared to say what I heard. And if there's any truth to it, then it's truth to it. Let them find it.
Many believe Diddy became a reflection of what he was shown. If you're taught early on that success excuses bad behavior, you may start believing rules don't apply to you. Over time, that mindset can spread to everyone around you, especially younger artists. Over the years, many people connected to that world faced serious struggles or disappeared from the spotlight entirely. Some passed away, others were silenced. Naturally, Diddy must have taken the things he learned from Clive and used them on innocent men, women, and even children like Usher. Gone Deal has talked about one particularly disturbing encounter that left Usher bleeding and needing stitches.
And one person didn't know that Puffy was Usher. Now, one person didn't know what the saddest thing in the world is what they did to Justin Bieber.
What was that?
That's bad.
What'd they do to him? Because there's a lot of speculation out there, but nobody. I mean, I've heard things, but what did they really do to him?
They had sex with him
when he was a kid.
I hate to say that. But I hate to say that because I really like Justin Bieber. I feel bad for Justin Bieber. And this wouldn't have happened if Justin Bieber came from a wealthy family. Justin Bieber pretty much came from a poor family, but the young man was so talented, and he could have been bigger than Michael Jackson. But the depression of the drugs and the stuff he allowed these grown men to do to this little boy is unhealthy, and it's fucked up. No grown men supposed to be getting high and doing drugs and drinking with a kid.
Hey, Suge, Justin Bieber has been getting this out in different ways. You could see it in his music and just what he's been trying to say without saying it. So, I mean, I think everybody knows what you just stated to be true.
I mean, you had grown men would take Justin Bieber. A grown man take Justin Bieber when he was young to a vacation, a romantic vacation, showing pictures on the Instagram with no women, nobody else but a grown, successful man and this little kid. And even if you and I was going on vacation together, and regardless if wise, mad or not, it's definitely not going to be in me and you. It's going to be bad because we're going to have some there. Or I'm not going to be sitting on a romantic island, just you and me.
Gene says, what made the story hit harder years later is that now new allegations are coming out with young people stepping forward and telling their own stories. When Usher is brought up again, Suge Knight has allegations of his own.
On top of that, when I met Usher, I came on one time, I'm speaking to the guy because he got good songs. That's out of respect. Like a young black man. This dude rolled his eyes at me. And so somebody came over as a camp and said, Suge, don't have one of your guys do nothing to him. He a good young man, but him and Puffy got a thing. He had a thing. He said, he gave me a look like, And I thought about it. The way he rolled his eyes at me wasn't like somebody homie rolled it. It was like I beat up somebody's man. Like I beat his, he like somebody to roll their eyes. Like you beat my boyfriend up. I ain't speaking to you.
Really?
It was one of those, right? Yeah, for sure. And the crazy thing about it is, like, Leslie, his mother, and everybody else said the same thing. Well, it was wrong, but if we go and get Puffy in trouble behind that, Usher wouldn't be Usher. He'd be known as the guy who got molested by Puffy, and they didn't want that. They wanted the money.
He says Usher once stayed in the same place as Diddy while working on music, but no songs even came out of it. Later, when Usher was older, Suge recalls meeting him and noticing something felt off.
Well, look at Usher. They don't see that. They're not seeing the victim. They're not seeing that boy that got rushed to the hospital.
The belief was that staying quiet protected his success, even if it cost him personally. It shouldn't be a surprise that what happened to Usher ended up shaping how he treated younger artists, including Justin Bieber. Jaguar Wright alleges that Usher actually sent Bieber to Diddy after grooming him, basically continuing the cycle that had been inflicted on him. In her words, Diddy turned Usher into a predator, and now that pattern repeated. 14. Do you think Usher deserves a second chance if he exposes Diddy and Clive? Let us know in the comments.